There's a cost to doing business with any action hero. They might save the day, but chances are they're going to cause some serious damage along the way. So how do the heroes of Netflix's action films stack up in the way of price points? Here's a fun look at how much their destruction would actually cost in the real world. The pint-sized good guys in We Can Be Heroes have the right idea.
We lure the aliens out of the cities so that we don't destroy more buildings.
She's right. Our parents are always having huge brawls in the middle of the most populated cities.
Their own parents are a whole lot messier with their day-saving adventures, like when Crushing Low destroys an entire town hall building just by making a clumsy entrance.
These battles are insanely expensive for taxpayers, but so entertaining.
So if you ignore everything their parents break, the price tag for the child heroics bout with the extraterrestrial invaders is actually pretty small. They do steal a train car worth $25,000 at least, and run it into a nice gazebo which costs $5,860 on average. But otherwise, the group leaves little property destruction in their wake. Their destruction tally comes in at just around $30,860 of damage.
You can name your price.
We'll invoice you when it's done.
The semi-immortals in the old guard have been around long enough to know the value of $1. Before they find out that their child-saving mission is a farce, they use stealth to take out a series of guards in their way. And the property damage is rather limited, with just a simple door explosion. Go to any given hardware store and a Door Plus installation runs about $398. Then, Andy breaks a single security camera. That's about $125. Even when Andy's team is hiding out in France, they stick to a building that's already ruined, so Andy's blast signal causes little or no real cost. The battle at the pharmaceutical headquarters is where the most property destruction goes down. But even then, it's Merrick's crew that does the most damage with explosives and gunfire. We do have to credit Joe with that big broken window. A pane that size runs about $4,500. Andy with another exploded door, and Niall smashing a lovely Peugeot, which is worth approximately $40,364 new. At the end of the day, the Immortals caused about $45,785 in damages. We can only imagine how many millions of dollars were spent making the Thunder Force possible, but their superhero adventures cost a pretty penny too. First, Melissa McCarthy's Lydia Berman breaks a building's window and part of the sign. She also puts a hole in the ceiling while she's training, and during their first official mission, she adds a few new ceiling holes and wrecks a display shelf full of liquor bottles. Lydia also breaks a diner stool in half during her battle with Laser, and ruins a vintage malt mixer and a glass door.
No, we just fixed that door!
Her costliest stunt comes when she throws a giant city bus, which is going to cost the city $250,000 at least. So while Emily ponies up most of the cash for Thunder Force to become a thing, it's Lydia who brings the total damage up to about $283,528. To be fair though, Lydia should get a little credit for fixing that broken church angel.
You're right.
In Sweet Girl, Jason Momoa's Ray Cooper and his daughter Rachel are out for justice against a greedy pharmaceutical tycoon. The father-daughter duo cause a fair amount of damage along the way of this vengeance scheme. The damage kicks off with a fight in the motel room. They smash through a closet door, a mirror, a lamp, a window, the balcony rail, and a sedan car window below. Of course, the real damage comes along later when the Cooper's revenge scheme totals a Land Rover. Ray also makes a Chevy Suburban crash. But since the bad guys blew that one up, it's on them. Ray also gets the bill for that tire he ruined. For her final act, Rachel flips an ambulance while escaping the clutches of the FBI. Add in the price of all that damaged medical equipment inside, and that's roughly $305,000.
Oh, God damn it.
In all, the Sweet Girl protagonists are relatively low-key when it comes to getting the job done. But they still take in a good deal of damage at around $343,733. By the end of Spencer Confidential, the amount of damage the ex-cop, ex-inmate has done in the process of serving justice is pretty extensive. When he's attacked at a local restaurant, Spencer slams his foe into a kitchen fridge, across a restaurant food bar, and into a table and chair set, all before Hawk drives a Riviera through the glass storefront and smashes at least 8 panes. The real price point of Spencer and Hawk's unlikely partnership comes along when the two ram a semi-truck into at least 4 SUVs and that yellow sports car.
This is your plan? My plan only went as far as the engines, okay?
He ends up breaking a few more tables in a fistfight, but at this point, those hardly add to the total. At the end of the day, Spencer's unpaid operation ends up costing a mint, with about $388,008 worth of damage. In Project Power, it's not the heroes who do the most damage. It's the power users who can't control their strength. Art slashes a dirt bike tire early in the film, and they break a few things on the villain's ship. Robin puts an axe into a control panel and breaks a floodlight, and Art takes out a few shipping containers. Those go for about $2,000 a piece used. So let's say it's a dozen, bringing things to $24,000. Then there's the crane he knocks out. That's a big one. Conservative estimate? $800,000. The other big point of destruction in Project Power happens at Biggie's underground bar. Sure, it's Biggie who takes a power pill and destroys the interior, but Art's the one who sets off a chain reaction to blow up the whole place to the ground. That's $110,000 on the low end, since this off-books operation is probably not insured. All told, the heroes of Project Power cost $937,950. In Extraction, Chris Hemsworth's Tyler Rake might be a world-class stealth operative, but even he can't keep things from spiraling out of control during a rescue mission in Bangladesh. At first, the only things he breaks are bad guys' bones, and a rake, while rescuing Ovi. Once Tyler learns that saving Ovi will be much more complicated than originally thought, the price tag of this adventure starts to climb. He ruins an old Mercedes-Benz sedan and at least one police car in a white-knuckle car chase sequence. But most of the vehicular damage there is actually caused by Saju before he joined the good guys. Later, Tyler causes a pileup of at least 6 other cars, and then jumps out of a truck, leaving it to explode in the middle of the street. When the action moves to the bridge, the real expenses start piling up. First, Tyler creates a distraction by blowing up a police truck. Then, he drops a grenade inside an apartment, causing at least $5,000 worth of damage to the place. Over on the bridge itself, Nick single-handedly shoots the cost into the stratosphere by gunning down a $12.5 million helicopter. Even if you don't count the slew of smashed windshields and dinged cars during Tyler's trek across the bridge, that puts the heroes of Extraction's expense bill in the neighborhood of $12,687,212. It shouldn't be a surprise that the richest action hero in all of Netflix has the biggest damage budget to show for himself. In 6 Underground, there's an almost inestimable amount of damage done by one in his elite team, starting from the very first mission when the ghosts careen around Italy and destroy all kinds of property and at least a dozen cars, and a potentially priceless statue in the museum. What would that be, $1 million?
Yeah, we probably could have used a warm-up mission.
Yeah, that's my problem. I'm just getting warmed up.
It's also hard to put a price tag on the damage that's done when Seven decides to flood the entire royal suite by shooting out the pool. Conservatively, a nice penthouse costs at least $50 million in Hong Kong. But what we do know is that they sink an entire yacht that cost 1 billion manat, or $588,235,290. So even without ticking up every single car and Vespa and statue that's obliterated in the course of their off-books mission, we know that the cost for this coup was at least $639,714,690, far and away the most expensive action heroes. But hey, that's just the price of business when you're a billionaire philanthropist who wants to save the world. Thanks for watching. Click the links in our video to watch more from Netflix Film Club. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the latest exclusive videos. Plus, hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.